Hey everyone, and welcome. So, today we're tackling something that, I know, might sound a little dry, but trust me, it's one of the most critical things for any nonprofit's health and success. We're talking about the official records book. Let's dive right in.
Okay, so picture this. A grant that could literally change everything for your organization lands on your desk, but it's due tomorrow. And they need your official IRS 501c3 determination letter and the minutes from your last 3 board meetings. Can you find them? And that clock is ticking loud. Look, this isn't just some made-up story. This is a real-world stress test for your nonprofit's readiness.
So why all the fuss? Why does having an organized records book matter so much? Well, it's way more than just having a tidy filing cabinet, you know? A solid records book is really a sign of a healthy, well-run, and resilient organization. Let's break down the 3 biggest reasons why.
Okay, first up, and this is a big one. It's a legal thing. In places like California, the law is super clear. You have to keep these corporate records and make them available for people to inspect. Not having them, well, that can land you in some serious legal hot water.
And this, of course, brings us right back to that grant application we were just talking about. Funders, the IRS, they almost always ask for these exact documents as part of their due diligence. If you're prepared, you never have to miss out on a huge opportunity just because you couldn't find a piece of paper.
And let's be real, it's also just about preventing pure chaos. I mean, is there anything worse than that frantic, heart-pounding search for a document you know you have somewhere? When you're organized, that whole crisis just becomes, well, a simple, calm task. No sweat.
All right, so we've covered the why. Now let's dig into the what. What actually goes in this records book? What are the core pieces you absolutely need?
When you boil it all down, it's this: the single, organized, accessible home for all of your organization's most important documents. I like to think of it as the official autobiography of your nonprofit. It tells the whole story: how you started, the rules you live by, and all the big decisions you've made along the way.
This table is great because it breaks it all down into 4 main buckets. You've got your formation documents. These prove you're a real legal thing. Then there's governance, which shows how you operate. Meeting minutes, pretty self-explanatory. They track your decisions. And finally, compliance filings, which show you're following all the rules. Let's take a closer look at each one.
Okay, first up, formation documents. You can think of these as your organization's birth certificates, the really foundational stuff. You've got your articles of incorporation with that official stamp from the state, that all-important IRS determination letter that proves you're a 501c3, your most current bylaws, and even the minutes from your very first organizational meeting. This is the bedrock, the absolute foundation.
All right, next are your governance and policy docs. This is where the rubber really meets the road. These are not just dusty papers in a binder. They're the living frameworks that guide how you operate and manage risk. Things like a conflict of interest policy or a whistleblower policy, they show everyone you're serious about running an ethical organization.
Then we've got the proof that your board is actually doing its job. Your board meeting minutes, all lined up in chronological order, they prove your board is actively engaged and providing real oversight, not just a name on a letterhead. And any big formal decisions, called resolutions, like authorizing who can open a bank account, they all go in here too.
And last but not least, we have compliance filings. These are basically your report cards to the government. They show you're keeping up with all your obligations to state and federal agencies. So we're talking about your annual Form 990, that statement of information you file with the state, and any confirmations you get from the Attorney General's registry. All that good stuff.
Okay, so you've got all these documents, or you're starting to gather them. Now what? How on earth do you organize it all? Let's get practical here and talk about the 2 main ways people do this: the classic physical binder versus a modern digital system.
The truth is, there isn't one perfect answer here. Physical binders, they're classic for a reason. They feel substantial, they're easy to browse. But they can get damaged, and they definitely take up space. Digital, on the other hand, is amazing. It's searchable, super easy to share, you can back it up securely. The catch? You have to be disciplined with your file naming and really on top of your security. And that's why for a lot of organizations, a hybrid approach is the sweet spot. Keep the original physical copies safe somewhere, but use digital scans for everyday easy access.
This brings up a couple of really important questions. First, who's in charge of keeping this all organized? And second, who actually gets to look at it?
So let's start with who gets to see these records. Because it's not just a free-for-all. There are actual rules about who can inspect your records, especially under state laws like the ones in California. Think of it like different levels of access. Your board of directors, they have an absolute right to inspect pretty much everything. Then you have government agencies like the Attorney General or the IRS. They can demand to see records as part of an official investigation or an audit. And of course, funders are going to ask for certain documents when you're going through their due diligence process for a grant.
Okay, so who is the keeper of all this stuff? Traditionally, this role falls to the corporate secretary. They're the official record keeper. But let's be real, in a lot of smaller nonprofits, this super important job might fall to the treasurer or maybe even the executive director. The most important thing is that someone is clearly and officially in charge.
Now, I know what some of you out there might be thinking right now. This is all great, but our records are, well, a total mess. We don't even know where to start. Hey, don't panic. It is never, ever too late to get this sorted out. So let's walk through how you can build this thing, even if you feel like you're starting from ground zero.
Here is a simple 4-step plan, totally doable. Step 1 is inventory. Go on a scavenger hunt. Search everywhere, old emails, dusty filing cabinets, that box in the corner, and just see what you've got. Step 2, acquire. For any of those crucial documents that are missing, you can usually get duplicates from the Secretary of State or the IRS. Step 3, organize. Set up that system we talked about, whether it's a beautiful new binder or a super clean digital folder structure. And finally, step 4, the most important one, maintain. Give someone the job and make it a non-negotiable habit to file new documents right away.
This quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Better to start organizing now than continue operating without accessible records. You know, they say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. It's the same idea here. Don't let a messy past stop you from building a clear and organized future.
So at the end of the day, this records book is so much more than just a box to check for compliance. It really is the official story of your organization. It's got your origin story, all the pivotal decisions you've made, the story of your growth. So I'll leave you with this question. Is your nonprofit story written down and preserved, or is it scattered to the wind, incomplete, and maybe even at risk of being forgotten? The choice is really up to you.